What if a book from a totally different era held a secret formula for the perfect marriage? And what if that whole formula started with one single, powerful idea about a woman's role?
So, we're diving into the art of being a woman, and right from the get-go, it quotes Napoleon setting up this massive, almost epic ideal for how much influence a woman can have on the world. But then, bam! The book immediately contrasts that ideal with a really harsh reality. At the time it was written, the author points out that the divorce rate was climbing towards 50%. Talk about a huge gap between the dream and what was actually happening. And that's what we're doing today in this explainer. We're going to break down the key principles from this classic text that claim to have the solution to that 50% problem. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, so the author lays out this whole 5-part blueprint for marital harmony, and it all starts with what she calls a winning mindset. First up is the foundation for everything else. The book's big argument is that a marriage transformation, it doesn't start with the couple. Nope, it starts inside the woman's mind.
The book paints a picture of two different paths. On one hand, you have the wrong approach, which is just being reactive, letting the day just happen to you. But the author's solution is all about being proactive. You plan your day, you prioritize your tasks, and you take control before the chaos can take over.
And she offers a really specific method for this. The idea is simple but powerful. List tomorrow's tasks the night before, rank them by importance, and then just start with number 1 and don't stop till it's done. She claims this simple plan gets rid of stress and even solves that dreaded 4:30 p.m. panic of trying to figure out dinner. But, getting your chores done is just the beginning. The book then pivots and asks a way deeper question, pushing the reader to build a really strong sense of self before doing anything else. To do this, she basically prescribes a full personal inventory. You got to take an honest look at your strengths, your weaknesses, and your goals. The logic here is pretty simple. How can you improve your marriage if you don't first know and really value yourself? All right, so once you've got that strong sense of self, the second principle kicks in, and it's a big one: radical acceptance of your husband. This whole idea is summed up in a really powerful metaphor. The home is his palace, and he is the king. The book argues that a man's deepest, most fundamental need is to be accepted for exactly who he is, especially in his own home, which is supposed to be his refuge. The book is super clear on this. Nagging, it's not just useless, it's actually destructive. But on the flip side, true acceptance fills his biggest emotional need. It builds his confidence and creates the kind of safety that opens the door for real, honest communication. Okay, I gotta pause here because, wow, relationship advice has changed a lot, right? If you're finding this look back into a different time just as fascinating as I am, do me a favor and smash that like button. It really lets me know you want to see more explainers on classic, influential books like this one. And it doesn't just stop at acceptance. The book pushes for active admiration. It literally gives homework, like making a physical list of your husband's good qualities to read when you're feeling frustrated. And the most important part? You have to say at least one complimentary thing to him every single day. The author argues that you might be the only person in his entire life who actually builds him up. Okay, so you've got your mindset right, you're accepting and admiring him. Now we get to the book's big reveal, the real secret sauce, according to the author: adaptation. And to illustrate this, the book tells the story of Bobby Evans, who was married to an NFL player. She was totally miserable because he was always traveling, but instead of fighting it, she decided to adapt. She made every time he came home this huge, joyful celebration. And the result? He felt so loved and cherished that he actually offered to quit football just to be with her. To really drive this point home, the book frames the husband as the family's commander-in-chief. It even quotes a reigning queen who supposedly said that even though she was the first person in her country, she was the second person in her own home. And this whole idea of adapting flows right into the fourth theme, which is all about proactively turning your house into a joyful haven, both in its atmosphere and in, well, physical intimacy. The author puts a huge emphasis on what happens when the husband gets home from work. She argues that the wife's appearance and the feel of the home in those first 4 minutes are absolutely critical. She even tells a personal story about greeting her husband in a fun, playful outfit just to make his return an exciting event. And this idea extends into the bedroom. The book is very explicit here, advising a woman to be not just a wife, but a lover. It's about reframing the physical relationship, not as some kind of duty, but as a fun, creative celebration of the marriage itself.
And finally, we get to the foundation that, according to the author, makes all of these other, sometimes difficult principles even possible. And that is the power of faith.
Basically, the whole system runs on faith. The book argues that the incredible strength it takes to accept, admire, and adapt comes from a spiritual source. That a connection with a higher power is what fills you with the unconditional love you need to give your husband.
So, let's wrap this all up. The Art of Being a Woman basically lays out this total system where the wife is the one who proactively shapes the marriage. Her tools are her mindset, her acceptance, her adaptation, and the joyful home she creates. And the whole thing, according to the author, is held up by faith. So, there you have it. A fascinating blueprint for marriage from a completely different time. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? How have our modern ideas of a perfect marriage changed? And maybe more importantly, what, if anything, has stayed the same? I would love to read your perspective down in the comments. Thanks for watching.